Okay. Don't rush me.
I'm sure that most of you have heard the names Hitler and Stalin, and how they were responsible for the deaths of many people while they ruled their respective countries. According to the History Channel special on the Holocaust, Adolf Hitler, the German Chancellor, was responsible for the deaths of some 6 million Jews during World War II. And Joseph Stalin, leader of the Soviet Union, was responsible for the deaths of nearly 7 million. What comes to mind when you hear these stories of such evil men? Some of you may find it hard to believe that this type of evil actually existed. You may think that this type of evil only existed in our past and couldn't possibly happen in today's world. I'm sure that most of you find it hard to imagine that someone would actually believe that they are granted the authority to choose who lives and dies. But what would you think if I told you that since 1973, this very nation that we call home has overseen the slaughter of some 50 million innocent lives? I'm not referring to homicide or suicides, car wrecks, or even wars. No, these 50 million lives have been terminated in the name of convenience. It's called abortion. We're told that it's about the freedom of choice. We're expected to believe that these lives mean nothing because they're not real. We've learned to go on with our lives, justifying this atrocity that happens every day right in front of our eyes, while pretending to be horrified by the thoughts of a few evil men who wreaked their havoc on mankind decades ago. I find it hard to see a difference between the mass killings carried out by Hitler and Stalin and how our government allows the termination of innocent life in the name of choice today. I believe that taking the life of any human being who is innocent of any offense that can be deemed worthy of death is murder itself. Today I'll share with you what abortion is. I'll give you some facts supporting the pro-life stance and attempt to show you how God is the only one responsible for creating and destroying. Abortion is defined by the American Heritage Dictionary as the ending of a pregnancy by choice. In the 1973 Supreme Court case Roe v. Wade, the court decided that a right to privacy under the Due Process Clause in the 14th Amendment be extended to a woman's decision to have an abortion. And since that time, according to Alan Guttmacher Institute, it reports that there have been nearly 50 million abortions performed. Now, this ruling set the stage for what would become a firestorm of controversy. People from both sides of the issue would come out swinging, each side proclaiming that they have the truth of the matter, each side insisting that their logic is the best. They push and they shove, they yell and scream, all in an effort to have their voices heard. Yet through all the pushing and shouting, there is one voice that's never heard. It is truly sad that the unborn child, the center of the entire controversy, is the only one who doesn't have a voice. Now, many proponents of abortion believe that life doesn't begin till after birth. This is simply false. Science has proven that life begins at the moment of conception. It is at that moment that the cells needed to produce life begin the process of building a human being. At conception, the child's DNA is formed. These building blocks of life give the child its uniqueness. The color of the eyes, the sex, blood type, and even the color of the hair has already been determined. A genetically distinct life has already begun. By the 3rd week, the baby's heart begins to beat inside his chest. By week 8, every organ is present and in place. Everything found in an adult human being can now be found in this tiny embryo. Even that, given all the scientific proof that a life is present inside the womb, there are still those who choose to deny the evidence and take for themselves the responsibility of destroying life. And according to the Supreme Court, a woman can do just that. But why did the court decide that the right to choose was reserved for only the woman? What about the child? Abortion proponents would argue that personhood is not applied to an unborn child. Therefore, constitutional rights are not granted to the unborn. But I assure you that God knows and orchestrates the very beginnings of life and has since the beginning of time. God forms each and every one of us and does so with a distinct purpose and reason for our lives. Just as God spoke to Jeremiah and said, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to the nations." Conception is not an accident. The beginning of life did not happen by chance. In the story of Jacob and Rachel, we see the struggles that they had in attempting to conceive. And then we read how God remembered Rachel and God listened to her and opened her womb. And later we read in the story of Mary how the angel Gabriel came and told Mary, "You will conceive and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus." We are all created by God our Creator, and given the ability to reproduce. Along with this ability to reproduce comes responsibility of protecting life. The statistics show that we are failing to protect the lives of these most innocent human beings. As Christians, we should demand more of ourselves and more from our nation. We should demand that the immoral practice of abortion is stopped and the authority to create and destroy is given back to God. If you're against the slaughter of millions of innocent lives, then stand up and speak on behalf of that precious child. That precious child whose only voice may be the one coming from your mouth. Stand up for those that are innocent and show the world that we will no longer allow the evil ideologies of those like Hitler and Stalin to dictate how we value life today. Be the person that makes a difference. Get involved. Get involved with the local pro-life organization. Write letters to your representatives. Share the facts with your friends and family. Do whatever it takes to become a part of the solution rather than part of the problem. But above all, take the time to pray to God. Pray that He will intervene on the behalf of these innocent lives and allow us to forever stop this legal form of murder that has become more than commonplace in our culture. Be grateful for the gift of life that was given to you and fight for that same gift to be given to another.